Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Channel 6 TV Community Focus. I'm Kenny Fogle, your host. Glad you could be with us tonight as we've got a special guest here with us today, a gentleman that came to Bardstown several years ago and didn't waste any time making an impact and obviously made a good impression on a lot of people. He's named this year's Bardstown Nelson County Chamber of Commerce Man of the Year, and that's Mr. Jeff Crowe. Jeff, first of all, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Well, I'm glad to have you here. So before we get started, maybe talk a little bit about your experiences here in Bardstown. Tell me a little bit, who is Jeff Crowe?
So you're right. I have only been in town a few years. I came to town in 2013. Heaven Hill Distilleries, which is located here in Bardstown, hired me to open their new downtown Louisville experience, the Evan Williams Bourbon Experience. And so that's what brought me to town. And when I came, I did not move here. I just rented a small place and lived here because I thought, well, let's test the waters and just see. I'm a little bit of a jogger. I couldn't tell it at this moment, but I'm a little bit of a jogger. So first couple of weeks I was here in town because at that time the experience in Louisville wasn't ready. So I was working out of the Bardstown office, and I would jog at night. And every night people would just speak to me like they'd known me my whole life. And so I was like, was it because I'm wearing Heaven Hill gear? What was going on? And no, that's just who these people are. Yeah. And so Bardstown has been so welcoming to me. It's been amazing. And so what I thought would be a 6-month stint now has been 5 years and 6 months. Yeah. And I can't imagine it any other way. 6 months into that job, the opportunity came to be the director for both of our facilities. So now I'm the GM of Visitor Experiences for Heaven Hill. So I take care of both properties. I do a lot of driving in the car, a lot of phone calls in the car. But it's been great.
Where you're originally from?
I'm originally from a little small town called Irvin, Kentucky.
Irvin, Kentucky.
Yeah, which is in Estill County.
Yes.
After that, I moved to London, Kentucky. I spent 15 years before I came to Heaven Hill.
Oh, you lived in the big town of London.
The big town of London. I worked for Congressman Hal Rogers as the president and CEO of one of his organizations for about 15 years. So opened a lot of great doors. What a great man he's been for the state of Kentucky. So then I found myself here in bourbon. So I went from politics to bourbon. I thought that was a really good transition.
Well, there's an in between, or maybe not an in between, but I know you told an interesting story. Getting into baking and things of that nature. I mean, did you have ideals of being a chef someday, or what was your plan?
I don't have any idea on being one, but about 4 years ago, I decided I really couldn't even boil an egg. I'm a Southern boy, grew up in a small town. My mom and dad, my grandmother, cooked 14 dishes for 2 people. Yeah. Just that was the way we grew up. And so I couldn't boil anything. So I've got to learn to cook. Yeah. And so I started learning to cook, and then I had to learn that there's a difference between cooking and baking. And so in doing that, I found this real passion that I didn't know I had. So about 1.5 years ago, I started writing a cookbook. I've got about 62 recipes so far. Not sure where it's going, but the whole concept is there are dads like myself, because I'm a dad of one, that have a really busy life, and I can't run home every night and make everything from scratch. So it's a way to make really good food, really healthy food, and still be able to buy 50% of it at the grocery store.
When you get that cookbook done, you come back in here and we'll talk. Well, we'll talk about it anyway, because I'm more a passion for that myself. Yeah. I actually wrote a small cookbook, but it's mainly for me because I have a special diet that I like. But now we can come in here and talk about that as well. And also I know on a sad note, your dad just passed away here, and I know that was somebody you were very close to.
Absolutely. So. My dad just passed 2 weeks ago. That's the reason I'm just now able to come and visit with you, and so I'm thankful for that. I'm overwhelmed, since I'm really a newbie to Bardstown, by the overwhelming outpouring of florals and food and visitors and cards and phone calls and texts. And so at that point, I know that I've made the right decision where I am.
Well, this sort of leads me into my next question. Is I see Bardstown in a much different way. I've been here almost all my life. So, coming from here, being here for several years, what's your initial impression, and I know you say it's a friendly town, but what do you see that I guess I won't see because I've been here for 60-some years and I'm missing something? So, what's Bardstown mean to you?
So I don't know that Bardstown, you said you miss things. I think people all the time want their towns to be better because they think they need to change. And so about 10 years ago, I had a real eye-opening experience. I traveled to Hong Kong for 10 days and to Thailand and Bangkok. And we had an amazing time, but we hired a tour guide. And her name was Nora, and we were talking about where we were from. And she goes, "Oh, yeah, I know where that is. You all send your children away." And I'm like, "I don't know what that means." And she said, "Well, anytime I talk to someone from your United States, they're like, 'Oh yeah, we can't wait. We're going to send our kid off to college.'" And I was like, "I get it." She said, "We don't do that. We embrace our youth, and we want them to stay as close to home as possible because we love what we have." And I think sometimes we get so close to what we have, like you're so close to Bardstown, you forget that outsiders like me, the moment I drove into town, I was like, wow, what a great town. You have great downtown shopping. You have, for this size town, you have great restaurants. You have great community buy-in. I mean, the leaders of your Chamber of Commerce, your tourism agency, your economic development, Kim Houston and all those people have such passion for what they do. I think you all see it so much you don't realize how blessed you are. And I worked with 50 communities when I worked for the congressman, and they were all blessed in some ways, but you don't always get that synergy that Bardstown has, from businesses to the people trying to bring the business to just your local guy that's sitting on the corner drinking coffee. Everybody seems to have a really great connection, and I think that's what makes Bardstown sparkle.
Well, like I said, growing up, I lived raised out past Heaven Hill. So I passed Heaven Hill almost every day, but there was Heaven Hill and there was Barton's and maybe Willits, and that was about it. But that the bourbon industry is booming so much just in the, I mean, we thought it was going to die. I guess about 20, 25 years ago, we were counting on several of our distilleries closing up, moving out. That didn't happen, and all of a sudden now it's the talk of the town, and it is becoming Bardstown in some ways.
It is. It's amazing. So one of the things that I talk about, because I talk a lot, I know you all find that shocking. I do talk a lot. Used to, bourbon was what the guys on TV drank, did a shot of really quick, or, you know, and that's not what it is now. You know, bourbon is the new sexy. What used to be your grandpa's drink is now your best friend's drink. Or your girlfriend's drink, or your fraternity brothers or sorority sisters. It's just a whole new energy behind bourbon. It's not just about that shot or just over the rocks. There's amazing new cocktails and flavors and new ways to present it and taste it, and now we eat it. You know, now we cook with it, and I cook with it a lot because I'm at home trying it. I do a Facebook page of my food, and everybody's like, your food looks amazing. I'm like, yeah, you saw the one amazing dish. You didn't see the 22 that got dumped because they were bad. But I do a lot of bourbon cooking now, and I think that's really pushed the envelope for bourbon in Kentucky.
So again, you know, you got involved with Bardstown. Obviously, you've done a few things that's drawn a little attention. So what is it that's made you want to get more community involved? Is it the community itself that's just sort of drawn you in, or is this something that's normally in Jeff Crowe and you said, hey, wherever I land, I'm going to be a part of it?
So it's a little bit of both. Yeah. So Jeff Crowe's a very outgoing, aggressive personality. I thank God every day for the personality he gave me. So anywhere I land, I have to be involved, which sometimes is a drawback because my family's like, you're always gone, because people have to make a difference, and I've always been one of those people, if you're going to complain about it, make a difference about it. So I don't sit back and say, oh, this should be done or that be done, unless I'm a part of it. So, and Bardstown's been really great about allowing me to be a part of that. But on top of that, Heaven Hill, when I came, I was just the manager of one property. You know, so I was just one voice, but they have allowed me to kind of become a voice for both of our centers. And I believe if you want the community to invest in us, we have to invest in the community. So if you go to chamber meetings or tourism meetings or anything outside the norm after 5 o'clock, I'm usually there. I enjoy it. I enjoy the people. It's hard to serve the people if you don't know who they are. And so one of the things that I've learned here is so many different facets of people that want to know about bourbon or just the Heaven Hill history. And so I try to go out and engage and bring that back to us. So if I was selling milk or bourbon, I would be just as passionate. But this company allows me to be way more passionate because they give me the freedom to reach out and do the things that I'm comfortable with.
Well, bourbon is expanding. Obviously, you mentioned the Louisville location. I know there's a lot more activity going on in Louisville now, in Bardstown. Do you see a partnership going on there more so now than there has been in the past? Because, you know, it's always been a little battle thing, a little territorial. Now it seems like we're sort of working together.
Yeah, I've been here 5.5 years, and in that 5.5 years, I've seen a migration of partnerships, and I think it had to start small, and it will get larger and larger. But just for the fact that we have a center in Bardstown and we have a center in Louisville, we automatically cross-promote. Well, now we have made friends with all the other neighbors, Angel's Envy and Peerless and all the others, and so now they help cross-promote us. And so, and now you're seeing the economic development teams work together to, you know, what works here, it's a different dynamic for Bardstown. This is the heartbeat of bourbon as far as I'm concerned. If you want to feel the real heartbeat and come to the Rick House and see where it happens, Bardstown's the place. Louisville is a great add-on, a great addition. They have lots of great things to offer, but when you think about let's see the guts and glory of bourbon, it's here in Bardstown.
So if you're here in Bardstown, you want to make a difference, you look around, what have you done that's really made your pride? What's the pride of what you've been involved with since you've been here in Bardstown?
So Chamber's made a huge difference in what I do. So because I think a lot of people see Chamber as just a business-driven opportunity, and that it is. But had it not been for Chamber, I wouldn't have been able to make the contacts that I've done or had while I've been here, across the board, not just in Bardstown, across the whole industry. I would think the one thing that I feel like my pride moment is Heaven Hill is American owned and family owned and family operated, and we're very proud of that fact. But the family's not always showcased that because it's what they do every day. They're proud of it every day, so they don't know that the outside world doesn't see it. So I hope one of the things that I've helped do and my team around me's helped do is make people realize that there's a true, real family that comes to work every day, just like the 700 employees at Heaven Hill that are just as passionate about what we do as everybody else. And so I hope I hope the world gets to meet that family.
Okay, well, maybe that's a story on down the road. We may be able to expand on that a little bit.
And we're ready to renovate, so we're under renovation right now for this.
Well, and I have never been in the big warehouse you got in behind, the automated one. I've heard stories.
It's amazing.
That's what I hear.
It's one of those things you see on space TV, and you think we'll never have it. Then you see these picking these
we
things
may have
up.
to come out there and do a little story on that as well.
It's
So
amazing. So we are now undergoing a $17.5 million renovation for the visitor experience here in Bardstown. So if you're coming by, we do have a little bit of dust construction.
Well, say somebody such as myself, and I say this not facetiously, but it's true. Is we pass these buildings every day. Heaven Hill, my old Kentucky Home State Park. And again, like we said, we take them for granted. We don't look in. We don't. If we stopped in Heaven Hill today, I had a father-in-law retired from Heaven Hill, I guess probably 20 years ago. He spent 45 years there. If he went there today, he's not around anymore, but if he had went there today, he's going to see a much different Heaven Hill than he saw when he retired 20 years ago, I'm sure.
Absolutely. We still stay strong to our core values, and we still promote good product at a good price, and that's kind of our claim to fame. But if you walked in now, the visitor center is covered in construction dust and safety cones and fencing and all that stuff. But by the end of 2020, early 2021, we'll have a brand new facility that we can launch to the public. But we're still open during construction. Not as big a facility as normal, but we have to give a little to get a whole lot. So we're very proud of that. So we're still open regular hours, regular days, everything.
Well, Jeff, I do appreciate you taking the time to come by. I know you're extremely busy, and I wanted to make sure we got in here and talk to you a little bit. Congratulate you, first of all, on Man of the Year. That's quite an honor. And secondly, just to meet you and get to introduce you. Like you said, you get introduced as you go down. And I know you mentioned you stopped in to eat at Mammy's every now and then, and she even gave you a birthday party.
And I tell people this all the time. When I first came to Bardstown, I didn't know anybody. And I was living in a one-room apartment because I didn't know, jogging was my only friend. And I did jog by Baskin Robbins and Mammy's every night, so it was temptation every night. So I started stopping at Mammy's, and Christy's team, Christy who owns the place, as you all well know, befriended me. I guess I looked like the lone soldier, I don't know. But she would always say, "Hey Jeff, I made this, you want to try it?" Or, "Hey Jeff, there's the pie." And I was like, yeah. So 6 months in, it was my birthday, and I was here by myself. And she had balloons, gifts, a small cake, or small pie. Mammy's famous for those. Pies. And that just says to me volumes about what this community offers. She wasn't the only person that treated me that way. Lots of others did, but that moment I needed it, and she was there for that, and I'm very appreciative to that.
Yeah, she's a great lady, and she always remembers my birthday because it's the same day as hers. So
I'll be 50 this year, Christy, so forget my birthday.
Oh my goodness.
We haven't talked about those birthdays anymore.
There you go. Well, I stopped talking about mine a long time ago. Well, Jeff, I do appreciate you being here. Thank you. Congratulations. And again, Jeff Crowe, the Bardstown Nelson County Commerce Man of the Year. You can find him out at Heaven Hill at the Visitor Center. Again, as if you see him on the street jogging, say hi. And always, like I said, we try to be friendly, and hopefully we're doing a good job. And he says we are, so we appreciate that.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you a lot very much. Appreciate you coming in. Y'all stick around. A lot more to come here on Channel 6 TV. We'll be right back.